Okay, so we're going to look at first of all, compound interest. Now, in this particular question, Fiona leaves £1,600 in the bank for 4 years. It earns compound interest at 4% each year, and we need to calculate the total amount Fiona has in the bank at the end of the 4 years. Now, what's going to be really important with these types of questions is that you fully understand percentage multipliers. So what we need to think about first of all is what percentage are we actually interested in. Now, Fiona originally puts £1,600 in the bank, so this is 100% of her money. And each year the bank adds 4% of this to her original amount. So what we need to be calculating is what is 104%. And to do that, we need to times by 104% as a decimal. So 104% as a decimal is 1.04. So I need to times 1,600 by 1.04, the percentage multiplier. Now that will calculate a 4% increase for me, but that's only for 1 year. So to do it for 4 years, I'd have to times it by 1.04 for the first year, 1.04 for the second year, 1.04 for the third year, and once more for the fourth year. Now, if I was going to type that into a calculator, I want to think of a quicker way. I don't want to type 1 times by 1.04 times by 1.04 times by 1.04 times by 1.04. And a quicker way of doing that is by timesing by itself means to the power, so it's going to be to the power 4, because I'm going to times it by itself 4 times. And that, in one step, is going to get me my answer. So all I need to do now is type that into my calculator. So I've got 1,600 times 1.04 to the power 4. And that gives me 1871.773696. Now in an exam, don't forget that we were actually talking about money here, so you need your answer in pounds and pence. So that'll be £1,871 and 77 pence as your final answer. What they can also ask you to do is look at depreciation. Now, depreciation just means the money is going to go down each year. So in this particular question, a car was bought for £18,000 and the value depreciates, so goes down by 15% each year for the first 3 years. And we need to work out what the value is at the end of those 3 years. So, when they bought the car, they originally paid 100% for it, but it's going to go down by 15% each year. So what we need to calculate is what 85% of the original amount is. So again, we need to times by that as a decimal. So it then becomes 18,000 times 0.85. Now, because it's for 3 years, that would calculate 1 year going down by 15%. That would calculate your second year, and then times it by a final 0.85 will calculate it for 3 years. But remember, we want this sum to be as short as possible, and instead of typing in times by 0.85 times by 0.85 times by 0.85, we'll just change that to cubed. All I need to do now, type that in. And that comes out with 11054.25, and that's got 2 decimal points, so that is in terms of pounds and pence. So that's my final answer.